Hey guys, and welcome to the Hobby News. Well, this was a quick turnaround for them. So GW have already shown, I guess, the what's up for pre-order like this week, I suppose, on Saturday or on the weekend, and it's the Warcry Red Harvest box. So I expected at least a few weeks before I had to do this little video, but anyway, here we go. So that's cool. It's coming out straight away. I guess they're catching up on all of their backlog and so on, and getting things rolling along, especially for Christmas. That's cool. It just means I'll be spending a bit more money this week than I thought I would, but whatever. So let's take a look. So unboxing Warcry Red Harvest. Delve into the Varanite rich depths of this massive box. Yeah. So it's cool. We get to see like the sprues and the terrain sprues as well, which is nice. So you can see if it's something you really want. It does have for this, well, I'll just say it now, that promise that they do for the weekend for pre-orders on a box set like this. I don't know, this doesn't really say if this is like some kind of special version or something that's only going to be having a fewer number of copies. I'm not quite sure, but that's quite hard to tell from this article whether that is or not. But I guess, yeah, it's just something you got to consider before you go to buy it. Like, I don't know whether that's the sort of FOMO thing, like they're just trying to get you to quickly get one, or whether it's whether there is limited copies for this. It doesn't look like a limited copy type of box set, but who knows, maybe it is. But anyway, it's something to consider before you go buying, just to decide if it's something you really want or not, because you could go and buy this thinking, okay, I'm getting a box, I'm all, the guarantee everything, and then they just have like 100 million more copies sitting on the shelf later. So it's hard to tell exactly what's going on with that. But anyway, from that little side note aside, let's just actually take a look at the models in the box. So almost as quickly as it was revealed, Red Harvest is tearing out of the Bloodwind spoil and into next week's pre-orders. Do you feel like a fly trapped in a web of anticipation? Well, I feel like a fly trap, that's for sure. But that's, life generally, right? We've got the perfect antidote, a full unboxing where you get to see precisely what's in this massive set. Yeah. So, we've already seen this type of image. We know what's there. Let's get a bit of a close-up look at what's going on. So I've got the warbands, and we get to see the sprues. So yeah, look, I mean, it's the standard thing these days. They're all split into multiple different parts. Although, let's see. Yeah, I guess these are a bit more favorable. We've got like a lot of the weapons separate and stuff like that. We've got arms separate, not sort of in some weird way on the body, at least on some of these anyway. It's not bad for a breakdown of a model kit, because you do have a lot of things separated, like these little sort of weapons here. We've got spears and so on. Like, that's pretty good, because for these sort of sub games, that's what you want. You want to have as many of the weapons and various bits and bobs that they come with separate as possible, because part of the fun of this is building your own version of the warband, right? Or at least converting or doing some little modifications here and there to give your warband that sort of personal touch, that narrative touch. They do it, I think they probably do it best in Necromunda. If we're looking at these modern sort of secondary systems, because they release entire packs of upgrades and so on, weapons and choices, and so that means that the models themselves are designed that way, so you can actually swap out and do different weapon choices. And I really like that. I guess that comes from a very older time of Games Workshop. Mordheim was the same way. If you know what Mordheim is, it's basically the Warhammer Fantasy version of Necromunda, and that was, again, the same thing. You could tailor make each of your characters, and as the campaigns or the games would go on, you get better and better equipment and skills and so on, and it improve the overall narrative of your little warband. And you get that to some extent in Blood Bowl as well, but it's less about obviously weapons and so on, at least on most of them, and more on the sort of skill progression that you get from them. So I'm hoping that Warcry does see a little bit of that Necromunda touch, and we see some different weapons and choices being added, because I think that's important for the game's longevity, for sure. So yeah, all good there. Let's see the Conans. Same thing. It looks like they've got quite a few of their parts separated out. These look like Possibly. Oh no, yeah. Look, there are all the axes. Everything's all separate. That's nice. You got some axes that don't have hands on them. That's good. Spears all separate. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I look for. I just look for all of the parts and how they're put together for a game like this, so I can see what I can do with them. And this looks pretty good as far as these kits go. I'm not seeing anything too egregious that I don't think I can't, convert from or whatever. Because sometimes you'll have that thing where they have the whole middle of that body is all cut down, and that can be a little bit of a pain. You got a little bit of that going on here, but it's not too bad. Like, look, that's that whole body is intact. That's nice. Same with this. That's sort of almost classic Games Workshop sprue there, almost. So yeah, even this whole leg section is separate. That's pretty good. Heads are separate. Nice. Yeah, I'm liking it. This is definitely a nicer sprue than some that I've seen over the current time. I definitely prefer it to that thing where you get whole things sort of in weird, jigsaw piece kind of separations. So yeah, let's have a look at the terrain. So we've seen this. Let's take a little bit of a look at the sprue. So yeah, one thing I noticed about these terrain pieces, yeah, is that you get these sort of wall sections that could be turned into L's and things like that. So I feel like a lot of the terrain in this is actually quite good for the main game systems as well. I think you can convert and chop these up and create something quite interesting and a bit more chaosy. If you want to do a more themed board, I like all these little additions of the spikes and so on that are here. That's a great thing to utilize, and these sort of pump kind of I guess oil well while it's Varanite or whatever it's digging up, but that could be used on a tower or something like that. But it's all these sort of straight sections is what I think is the most interesting, and these little walkways and so on, because you could create some nice pieces out of it if you had a couple of kits. Maybe go on eBay, and I'm sure these sorts of things will be up on eBay eventually, so you'll be able to like pick a few up and then maybe create something pretty interesting and different from the standard fare. I like how everything is kind of in these sort of flat panels. The sprue looks pretty decent. It's not huge, so you can't do like massive buildings out of it, but if you were to combine it with foam core and do a whole build, I think you could get something pretty interesting from it. You don't need to use all plastic. You could easily use foam core and other things. And even if you've got an FDM printer or even a resin printer, some select sort of 3D printed parts in addition to this would be pretty good. There's tons of terrain packs and STL files out there for terrain that you could utilize as like a base and then build off of it with this. And you could get some like really nice chaos terrain out of it, I think. So that's pretty cool. Now we've got the rulebook. Yeah, I like all the classic, Spider-Man on the front. That's nice. It's looking good. And yeah, we've got the rules there. That's great. And then so this is the basically the promise. So yeah, it doesn't really say. So keep your eyes, all 8 of them, if you're so blessed, on Warhammer community. But blah blah blah. As we jump in the rules, yep, okay. So that's just telling us about that. But it's not really giving us an idea as to whether or not. I've read through some of this, but it doesn't really. So let's see what it says here. So Warcry Red Harvest will see our pre-order weekend promise in full effect. So if you order a copy this weekend, you're guaranteed to get one. We've made plenty of stock, but if we run out, we'll make sure we make you one. Okay, it may just take a little longer to arrive. So it doesn't really tell me whether this is a standard box that's going to stay in stock, or whether they're just going to run through the lot or what. But I mean, I'm assuming this is the next version of Warcry, so you would imagine this is kind of like more like a starter box, unless I don't know if Warcry has those little mini starter boxes like 40k and AOS have. Maybe they do. I'm not quite sure. Maybe someone can tell me, because I thought that they just had this big box and that was it, like some of the other subsystems have. But maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have these in stock forever. I never got into the previous edition of Warcry when it was released, so I don't know if their big box actually sticks around or not. So maybe it doesn't. But look, I mean, either way, if you are playing, any of those factions or Chaos in general, or you're looking for something new, I mean, this isn't bad. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be good regardless of whether it's limited stock or not. If you pick it up, I'm sure you get use out of it. So yeah, all in all, looking pretty cool. As I said, I haven't played the previous one, well, sort of, but I'd be interested to see what they do with this and how it improves, I guess, on the core rules of the previous, and what sort of additions they're going to make. I do like the kind of setting. It should be interesting. It feels very much like, it feels more and more like Mordheim every day. Like now they're fighting over, like in Mordheim they would fight over warpstone. Well, here we're fighting over another type of stone. So it feels a lot like we're fighting a Mordheim type game. And I'm assuming they're going to have these little Veronite maybe tokens on the table or something, and you'll be running after them and doing all of that, like objective markers and so on. That's cool. That's fine by me. I really enjoyed Mordheim. Mordheim's one of their best games. So I'm surprised they haven't re-released it, because it's, like Necromunda, it's a perennial classic. And, really, I'd say maybe once they've re-released Warhammer Old World, and that's back into the main sort of fare of products that they release, I can definitely imagine them saying, okay, well, now that the Warhammer Old World is here, let's bring back Mordheim, because it is really one of their best game systems. And as long as they don't tamper with the core structure of it too much, and just try to maybe make those little modern amenities to it to bring it up to standard, I think it can easily sit very comfortably with Necromunda and Blood Bowl as one of their best games, and really push forward. I mean, when you strike gold, you strike gold, right? Those games are some of the best that GW's ever made, and it's going to be really hard to top them, because they really captured the essence of what that kind of skirmish game is like. I really do like Warcry. I'm really interested in it, and I think it's a very good modern game. I even like Underworlds as well, for what it is, because I enjoy the card systems and so on put into board games like that. But I think Mordheim is pretty special, and it would be like really amazing to see that come back in a similar vein to Necromunda, where they keep the core relatively similar, or like Blood Bowl. And so that, what I mean by that is that the model kits that come out have the same feeling in terms of how they're built, so you'll be able to like swap out weapons and so on and do all of that type of stuff, because that's part of the fun of Mordheim. So yeah, I won't go too long on that, but yeah, it would be really fun to see. So for this, let's hope we get some really great warbands. Like I've said, focusing on chaos, they should be able to bring out some really fun and unique warbands, and even some others. They do mention, if we take a final little look down here, they do sort of throw out, I think, the phrase that other warbands are also fighting in there. Somewhere here, yeah. So Warcry also sees plenty of Order, Death, and Destruction warbands, scrapping in the 8 points. There's just something in the air, beneath, and under the ground. Yeah. So they might even do some others as well, which is nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit the like button, subscribe button if you have, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one.